Okay, so first of all, as always, I want to thank everybody who's come in live. I'm going to send a message to the group in a minute. But I also really want to thank our speaker who is coming in and giving up her time. So thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. We don't have enough Hakaras Hatov to all these amazing women who come on and actually give us their time. So thank you so much. So Tzeeva is a certified life coach specializing in inner child work. She teaches students and clients how to climb into a space of greater self-compassion, self-forgiveness, and self-love. By using a very gentle approach, helping them find empowerment and joy despite their challenges. She loves spreading love, hope, and light into the world, and takes great pleasure in helping people embrace their humanity as they connect better to themselves, their loved ones, and Hashem. So with that, we feel so privileged. I'm going to go off. And are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Hi. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I honestly have never been here before, and it's just so beautiful to see what goes on here. My goodness. I feel like you women are holding up the world right now. Um, I'm very not used to speaking in front of, oh, hi, Nana. If you know me, you can put your camera on. Even if you don't, hi, Mazal. It makes me so happy to see faces that I know. And also just faces in general, because it makes me feel like I'm speaking to people. Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see people I know. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna just give, hi, everybody. Thanks for saying hi. Um, I'm gonna just give a little, first of all, I want to start this off with a tefillah because I always, before I give a class, before I run a session, I just feel like I need to bring Hashem into it more strongly so that it's just him. Like I'm just literally a messenger and he's the one that's flowing through me. So I want to just ask Hashem to please pour any words that he wants to go into these beautiful women today. Please, Hashem, help them flow through me, and give them whatever it is that I've gone through and that I've experienced and that I've learned through this work. Please, Hashem, help me give it over in a way that is beneficial and impactful for these women. So how did I get into this inner child healing? It's so amazing how Hashem takes you places that you just had no idea you're ever going to go. So I was one of these women that just always loved to help people. I love to pour my heart into people. I always love to spread love and light into the world. But I didn't realize how I wasn't giving to myself. Like I was really putting myself last for years, basically my whole life. And I didn't know, like I thought I was happy. I thought I was, I thought I was doing all right. And I thought I had like so much to pour and to give. And I didn't realize that like there's something in here that really, really needs it in order for me to continue doing what I do. And it was after it was 13 years ago. So this journey started 13 years ago, when I had my fourth baby, and I had a body crash, and I really had no idea it was connected to anything emotional. I thought that it was just my body was crashing, and I I'm very, like self-empowering type. Like I don't need help from people. I do things on my own. I like to be very self-sufficient. And I felt like, okay, like, so I had a body crash. All right. So I'm going to take care of this. I got this. And I went on like this mission to get myself better. And I started researching like what's wrong with me. And I went to like doctors and hospitals and tests. And like, I just couldn't get down to the bottom of it. And anytime I mastered and I helped to get myself better in one area, like a different part of my body started getting sick and started acting up. And this was going on for about a year. And I just was getting sicker and sicker, and I had no idea why. And eventually, it turned into like a pre-cancerous condition called Barrett's esophagus, which was my esophagus was eating itself up inside. And I started not being able to eat properly, which was really hard for me because I love food. And I really like, I started feeling like I was not going to be able to continue living like this. And I really had no idea which direction to go. And I finally decided to humble myself and go get some help. I figured, you know what, like at this point, I have so much anxiety. I'm like getting panic attacks from this health stuff. I just need help. I just need help. So I thought that it was going to get help, like just for my physical stuff. But it ended up being that through my work, through my therapeutic work, I started realizing how my body was really crying. It was just crying out in so many different ways to get my attention. Like, look at me. Like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to pay attention to me. And through my healing, I started feeling like, you know what, like I do need to give to myself. And I was getting a lot better over time, but I still felt like there was a part of me that needed to be healed at my core, and I wasn't there yet. And no matter how much work I did, it just wasn't hitting that spot, you know, that spot that I really felt like I needed to get to. And one day I was in my therapist's office, and you know, Hashem just sticks things in front of you that you need at the right time. And I happened to look at her bookshelf, and I saw this book on her bookshelf, and it's called Recovery of Your Inner Child by Lucia Cappachione. And I asked her, I said, what is this book? And she said, oh, this is a book, like it's about inner child healing. And she mentioned to me inner child healing before, and I just thought it was weird. I'm like, what is inner child healing? I'm an adult. I don't have, like, I grew up already. Like, what does it mean? Like, it's just weird. The name of the condition that I had is called Barrett's esophagus. Anyway, so I didn't really connect to this inner child healing very much, but I wanted to read this book. So I took the book home, and I could not get enough of this book. I would say I gobbled it up. Like, I felt like I was coming home when I was reading this book. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I've been missing. This is what I need. And I immediately bought 3 more, and I sent it like to my 3 people that I felt like, you know what, you guys need this book. Like, this book is like, I gave it to them for Hanukkah, like for a Hanukkah present. I'm like, you have to read this book, and you have to do the exercises in it. And I feel like through this work, it has literally saved me. Like, it has saved me in so many ways. It has started my inner child healing process. It's called Lucia Cappachione, and maybe if someone could put it into the chat, it's called Recovery of Your Inner Child by Lucia Cappachione. Moving forward years later, like years and years later, probably I think like 10 years, 11 years later, I actually got trained under this author to give workshops. And that's what I do now. I give workshops in inner child healing, and I just love to spread this kind of work because I just feel like it was so helpful for me, and I just want to share it and spread it. But I do want to say that at the time that Recovery of Your Inner Child, thank you. So I just want to say that this book really has been like the start of my inner child healing journey. And when I went for my endoscopy 10 years later, meaning I thought like this a condition, they said, is an irreversible life condition. And I have to be on medication for it. And through my work, I slowly weaned myself off of the medication. And 10 years later, I went for another endoscopy, and I did not have this condition anymore. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know. But I have to say that I really do feel that this work has helped me so much to heal from the inside and the outside. And no, I am not completely healed. And yes, I still struggle. And yes, I still have my challenges. And sometimes they come out really, really strong. And I have to practice these skills mightily along with everyone else. And I don't believe that, like, you know, you can be a master at this work, but I do believe that it's something that the more you practice, the more it becomes a part of you, and it's a beautiful way to get through the challenges of life. So I'm excited to share it with you. I also want to say that at the time that I was struggling so much, there was a time that I literally felt like I was dying and I was not going to make it. And I remember writing a letter to Hashem and asking him, like, why am I going through this? What's like, how can it be that I'm going through this much pain? And how can it be that like, what do you want from me? Why is this happening to me? And I did this, you know, letter writing back from him to me. And his answer to me was, which ended up being like the truth, and it was something that I knew deep inside, was that you love to help people. This is what you love to do. And in order to really help people in the most real, authentic way, it's something that you need to experience. You need to experience and you need to give over, and you're going to give this over. And in order for you to give this over, you need to feel it and you need to immerse yourself in it. And that's what I did. And I still do. I'm constantly immersed in this work. And I feel like it's something that you have to constantly be immersed in order to really to be able to help people with it. So that is my story. And I'm going to just start off with what is inner child healing? What does it even mean? So I'm going to read just the little introduction of this book to give you a little taste of what inner child healing is. And I'm going to also give you a little bit of practice today, hopefully with the little time that we have. Okay. So what is our inner child? The inner child is a powerful presence. It dwells at the core of our being. Imagine a healthy, happy toddler. As you picture this child in your mind's eye, sense its aliveness. With great enthusiasm, it constantly explores the environment. It knows its feelings and expresses them openly. When it hurts, it cries. When it's angry, it screams. When it's happy, it smiles and laughs from deep down inside. This child is also highly sensitive and instinctual. It knows who to trust and who not to trust. This little child loves to play and to discover. Every moment is new and full of wonder. From this playfulness comes an inexhaustible well of creativity and aliveness. As time goes on, the child runs heads on into the demands of the adult world. The voice of grown-ups with their own needs and wants begins to drown out the inner voice of feelings and instincts. In effect, parents and teachers say, don't trust yourself. Don't trust your feelings. Don't feel your feelings. Don't say this. Don't express that. Do as we say. We know best. With time, those very qualities that gave the child its aliveness, curiosity, spontaneity, ability to feel, they're forced into hiding. In the process of raising, disciplining, and educating children, adults often turn the child into a predictable adult. By eradicating the child's vulnerability, along with its lack of control, they severely damage the essential self of the child. The baby is thrown out with the bathwater. The adult world is not a safe place for children. For survival's sake, the growing youngster sends its delightful child spirit underground and locks it away. But that inner child never grows up and never goes away. It remains buried alive, waiting to be set free. The inner child is constantly trying to get our attention, but many of us have forgotten how to listen. When we ignore our true feelings and our gut instincts, we're ignoring our inner child. When we talk ourselves out of our childlike needs with the excuse that they're not rational or practical, not like the adult thing to do, we're abandoning the inner child. For instance, we may feel an impulse to skip for joy through the park or to cry uninhibitedly over the loss of a friend. That's the inner child wanting to come out. But when the serious grown-up in us says, no, you can't do that. Big boys don't cry. You must appear to be in control. The inner child gets locked in the closet. When our inner child is blocked, we are robbed of our natural spontaneity and zest for life. Over time, this may lead to low energy, chronic, or serious illness. When our inner child is hidden, we also separate ourselves from others. They never get to see our true feelings and wishes. They never see who we really are. This makes it impossible to experience true intimacy with others. We never get to truly know each other. What a tragedy and loss this is. For us to be fully human, the child within us must be embraced and expressed. So that is the introduction to what an inner child is and how it can be so healing if we learn how to listen and learn how to connect with our inner child. Really, this class is about love and connection, and about spreading more love to the world. Because if we can't do it with ourselves, there's only so much that we can do it with others. If we're not connected fully to ourselves, if we're not allowing ourselves to be fully embraced for who we are with all our human parts, it's going to be really hard to be able to do that with others. It all starts with ourselves. It all starts with the connection and the love that we have towards ourselves. And we need to start learning how to listen, how to connect, how to learn more about what it is inside that we need. What is our inner child trying to tell us? Making that connection every day, starting off the day asking, what can I do for you today? How can I be there for you? Before I go into the exercise that I want to do with you today to practice this a little bit, I just wanted to offer you a space to ask any questions on this before we go into the practice.
So the best thing is for people to raise their hands. So that way, so if anybody wants to put up their hand and ask any questions about this before she goes into. Vicky has a question. Go ahead, Vicky.
So basically what I'm understanding from you is that the concept of the inner child is the way we have been taught to hold ourselves back from feeling our emotions, and therefore that holding back is what's causing a lot of our feelings or our current ailments. Is that what I'm understanding, just for clarity?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Thank you. The inner child is the part of us that does hold the feelings. It holds our natural, organic, instinctive feelings. Our adult selves, from our environment and how we grew up and how we were conditioned, may have stamped down the organic way of us being expressed. And the inner child, when we learn how to connect with it, we learn how to be able to express those feelings and how to really feel them again. So the inner child is not the one that's holding us back. The inner child is the one that's waiting to be expressed. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. I'm just questioning, like, we're always evolving. So like our emotions are going to adapt based on our experiences. So I'm wondering, like, how going to the root of the inner child will then further allow us, shall we say, free us, or free our bodies from other ailments. I'm just wondering how that correlates.
Yes. So generally, when we have something that goes on, a challenge inside, a challenge that is challenging us immensely in a way that we feel very, the word triggered, which is very overused, but we feel like hysterical, like more than what makes sense for the situation. It's usually coming from a buildup of something in the past. It's usually coming from something inside of us that is unhealed, like that child part that has experienced that feeling in the past, but that didn't have the holding and support that it needed. So when you're in a situation now, right, and you have those emotions coming up and they're coming up very strongly and you don't know what to do with them and they're overwhelming, it's generally an inner child that's crying out in some sort of way, that's begging to be supported and loved and held.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give Chaya. Chaya's hand is raised. Chaya,
Okay.
go ahead. Chaya?
Yeah,
You
yes.
disappeared.
I was
Go
gonna,
ahead.
no, thank you. I was gonna ask, the question she just answered, I believe. How does one know when they have this inner child that's waiting to be expressed, that is unexpressed? And I see that you just answered it. It's like when you notice an extreme emotion in your
Yes.
life. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
That's what I
yes.
wanted
I
to know.
like the quote, and someone can write it in the chat if you want. If hysterical, then usually it's historical.
Wow. Very nice. Thank you.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Sure.
That's the answer. Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay. I know that we're very limited in time, Naomi, right? That's your name?
Yeah,
Are you called Nomi or Naomi?
both are good.
Okay. I like calling people by the name that they want to be called by. Okay. So I'm going to go into just a small little exercise. I don't know if you have papers and pens on you. If you don't, do it in mind's eye and just see how it feels to do this. Okay. So what you're going to do is I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to just take a few nice deep breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. And when you breathe out, I want you to just make a nice sigh of relief, releasing any tension, any stress that's in your body, so that we can get the body a little bit more quiet as we're getting ready to connect to a deeper part of ourselves. Okay, so breathe in and out. One more time, breathing in and out. Okay, and keeping your eyes closed, I want you to imagine yourself, and it could be that this is something that you know from pictures or from just your memory. I want you to imagine yourself as a child. You could think about what your childhood was like, what some of your likes were, some of your favorite things, who your friends were, what school you went to, where you lived, your favorite foods, your favorite things to play. Whatever comes up for you when you think of yourself as a child. And in mind's eye, I want you to see this little girl and envision her with as much detail as possible. Notice her hair color, her eye color, her facial expression, what she's wearing, where she is, who she's with, if she's with anyone. Just notice her and look her in the eye and let her see you. Let her see you all grown up in your adult body. Just look into her eyes and see if she has any idea who you are. And if she doesn't, you can tell her who you are. Introduce yourself. Let her know that you're here today to meet with her and to connect with her and to get to know her just a little bit. Just a little introduction. And hopefully you'll continue to meet her again in the near future. And as you're sitting or standing in front of this child, I want you to think about, what would you say to them? What will you say to her? What do you want to tell her? How would you treat her? And if you do have a pen and paper, I want you to write down the words that you would share with her now as she's in front of you. And if you don't have a pen and paper, that's okay. You can do this in mind's eye. Imagine yourself talking to her. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to just write down a few words, what you want to share with her now. When you're finished talking to her, I want you to just reflect on how that interaction felt for you. How did it feel for you to meet with this child? How did you view her? Does this affect how you view yourself as an adult today? And before we end, I want you to ask yourself one more question. And this is a question that you're going to ask your adult self today, which is going to automatically go into your inner child. When we take care of ourselves today, when we ask ourselves today, how can I take care of you? You're essentially getting to the inner child from within, even if you're just connecting with the you of today in a safe and nurturing and warm way. That is hitting the inner child underneath. So I want you to ask yourself the question, what is one way that you can make yourself feel warm, safe, and nurtured today? And let that answer come up from within and see what it is. And see if you can hold yourself accountable to do something that comes up for you. Okay, so let's say it says, I want you to take a walk, or I want you to drink a cup of tea for 5 minutes just with yourself. See if you can honor that request. Even if you can't honor it fully in some level. And when you do, when you're going to honor this request, I want you to envision that child that you saw before in mind's eye. Envision her being held, being taken care of. Hey, thank you so much I want to just give a special shout out to Michelle Michal Liba, for having me join this group and for having me come on. Really, really appreciate it. It was so nice to just share a little tidbit of what I do, and hopefully giving it over a little bit so that you can spread a little bit more of that love that you had today. And if anybody wants, you can look at my website. You can contact me if you want to connect further.
I will share. I'll share all your information.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, I know because we really had to cut it short today.
Mm-hmm.
If you would be willing to come back, maybe do like more answer question, maybe go into it a little bit deeper. And so that would be that would be great.
Okay, sure. My pleasure. Now that I got
It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
You can see that you spread love and sunshine to the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a great
Thank
day,
you.
everybody.
Okay, everyone. So just want to mention